Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our sisters, and the message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? I want to confess that my dead boyfriend talks to me. Please help me. My dead boyfriends talk to me and helps me in time of need. I dated my boyfriend for 5 years. This was when I was still back home in Zim, and we had huge plans for us. He was like my first love, plans to build a family and have a future together, but that was not to be. My boyfriend was then involved in a fatal road accident and he died on the spot. So what my boyfriend used to do is that he was working with some guys, so they used to follow, those trucks that will be carrying fuel, and they used to follow those trucks. So then they used to drain the petrol from those trucks. Sometimes they would even force the drivers to give them the fuel. So after my boyfriend had passed away, that was when I thought of coming to South Africa. I just wanted to move on with my life. I was shattered when I heard about the news. And even at that time, when I went to attend his funeral, the people, the way that they were looking at me, this made me to feel like heartbroken, because some people, they were even accusing me and they were saying that I was the reason as to why he had started getting involved in all of the things that he was doing, hijacking trucks and stuff, because I was someone that was very demanding. So each and every time that he was spoiling me, I did not even know that his relatives did not even like it when he was spoiling me. At that time, he had once came to my parents' house. So my parents knew that he was someone that always had a lot of money. So the list that they gave him, it was somewhere around 18,000 US dollars. So when he went with that list to his parents, then his parents started to complain. This is the reason as to why we were not yet married by the time that he passed away. So whilst we were at the funeral, there were things that I saw, my brother. When I was at that funeral, I saw that his coffin was moving. And when I saw that the coffin was moving, I thought that maybe I was hallucinating. And this is what one of his aunties told me, because his parents, they were church elders, and they did not believe in the doctrine that the dead do talk to the living and the living do talk to the dead. So whilst we were just sitting the night before we had buried him, that was when I heard him speaking with me. He just said that, do not cry. Why are you crying? For I am always to be with you. And when I spoke with his auntie, then the auntie then said that I was just hallucinating. Well, after we had buried him, that was when I thought of moving on. I moved on and I came to South Africa. When I came to South Africa, I then met this other guy who is called... When I came to South Africa, that was when I met this other guy whom I'll call Lenny. He was also from South Africa. When I came to South Africa, that was when I started dating this guy whom I'll call Lenny, who was a South African guy. And this guy, he was a caring boyfriend at first, giving me attention and love bombing me. But the guy, he just changed. One night when he came to my place, and when he looked at me, Brother Nashi, he was like spitting. This guy, when he looked at me, it was as if he was looking at something that was really smelly. He then just got up and he walked away. But later on, when he had reached the place where he was staying, he then called me and he was apologizing. At that time, I was really confused. I begged him to come back. He then came back and we slept. But on that night, I don't know what was happening, because he tried to sleep with me and it was like really dry down there. He tried to use some saliva, putting some saliva on my private parts, but the moment that he would try to penetrate me, I'll get so dry, so much that it was painful. He then apologized and he told me that he was sorry, because he thought that since he had told me that he did not love me and he had abused me emotionally, that was the reason as to why I was not getting wet down there. Well, we slept. When we slept, my brother, I then woke up in the middle of the night and I found Lenny. He was just sitting on the chair. He was busy talking with someone, but this conversation that he was having with that person that I could not see, I could not hear a word. He was just mumbling and I could not even understand what he was saying. I tried to wake him up, but he could not even wake up. He kept on talking, but his eyes, they were closed. I was scared. I took some salt and I sprinkled him with some salt, but it was not working. I tried praying, but it was not working. The moment that he woke up, he just collapsed to the ground. I had to pour some water on him for him to be okay again. And after he had woken up, that was when he told me that he had a nightmare. And when he had a nightmare, he said that he started to have a dream and he saw a guy that was telling him to stop seeing his girlfriend. And he said that this guy, the funny part about it was that he was speaking with me in Shona and I was able to understand this guy, and he was chasing me in my dreams with a gun, telling me that he should never lay his hands on me or else there will be hell to pay. So at that time, he was like sweating like really heavily, and he was like, tomorrow, you know what? I am going back to my place and I'm going to think about this. And that was the last time that I saw Lenny. And after that, my brother, I tried dating again another guy that was from Zim, but it was the same thing. The guy kept on telling me that whenever he would come to my place for a sleepover, he would always see this other guy in a vision. The guy will be like fighting with him, telling him that he was sleeping with his wife. And I knew that this was my late boyfriend that he was seeing. That was when I took that decision that it is far much better for me to stay alone. So I stayed alone, Brother Nashi. So if I am dating a guy and if we are using protection, then the guy won't have any of these nightmares being chased by the spirit of my late boyfriend. But the moment that we get so serious and we'll be sleeping with each other, not using protection, that is when the guy will start to have those nightmares, and in his dreams he will be chased by my late boyfriend. I then returned back home, and when I went back home, I did not tell my mom. I said, let me go around so that I can just hear what is going on. I then visited this other prophet, the first prophet that I went to. I said that maybe he is lying, for he said that, you know what happened at the funeral? Do you remember that your late boyfriend's sister came with a plastic dish that was full of water, but when you wanted to wash your hands, you then saw that the water, it was dirty. And I remembered very well that the thing that happened at the funeral was like this. We were sitting down and we were getting ready to eat. So like, since I was their daughter-in-law, I was sitting with the other women because we were the ones that were responsible for washing the dishes and cooking for everyone. So whilst we were there, that was when my boyfriend's sister came, and she came and she was holding a dish, and she said that I was supposed to wash my hands before I would eat. I looked at the water that was inside that small plastic dish, and it was like really dirty, sewage dirty. But I refused. That was when some of my late boyfriend's relatives said that. So they told me that I was not supposed to refuse, for this was part of the cleansing ceremony. But my brother, later on, when I spoke with my mom, she just said, let us pray. There is no such a thing like being cleansed after your boyfriend would have died because you were not yet married to him. So at that time, since I did not know anything, I just washed my hands and I then started eating. And the other thing that happened was that after she had made me to wash my hands with that dirty water, I then said, I have some women with me here. Why don't they wash their hands as well? But those women, they just said, no, the water is dirty. And when I said, why did you make me to wash my hands with this dirty water? She just poured the water onto the ground and she said, let me go and bring you some clean water. She quickly went and she brought some water that was clean, and she made me to bath myself using that clean water. And when I was at that prophet's house, the first one that I visited, he said that the water that they gave me, it was the water that they had taken from the mortuary. My brother, at first I could not believe it. I will never... So at that time, I trusted everyone, and I told myself that there was no one who was capable of doing something that was evil like that, because I loved my boyfriend's relatives so much. I did not know that they hated me. So I did not believe that they were capable of doing such a thing, to go to the mortuary to get the water that had been used when they were bathing his body. But that is what the prophet told me. So after I had paid him, I then said, let me go to another white garment prophet. I went to this other prophetess house. She told me the same thing, but with her own version. But at the end of the day, it was the same story. So I visited 5 prophets from the white garment church, and they told me that same story, because my mother-in-law, she was blaming me for the death of her son. So what they had done with that water is that they had spoken with the spirit of my late boyfriend, and they said that if she is the one who got you killed, if she is the one who informed the police that you were going to rob this truck, then she is supposed to die. You must take her to the grave with you. So when they saw that we were able to bury my boyfriend without me showing any signs that I was about to die, that was when they saw that I was innocent. But instead of them telling me that this was the ritual that they had done on me, they did not do that. They just remained quiet, and I returned to my parents' house, not knowing that when I was returning back, according to that other prophet, I was carrying the spirit of my late boyfriend on my back. Even right now, I am told that I am always carrying the spirit of my late boyfriend on my back. Right now, I am looking for someone who can perform a cleansing ceremony for me. I have since spoken with some traditional healers that are from Zim, but most of them, the amount of money that they want from me, it is too much. The last traditional healer that I spoke with, he said that to appease the spirit of my late boyfriend so that he can stop haunting me, at least 5 cows will be needed. And I said, how much are you going to charge me? And he said, the consultation fee, it is going to be $120. Then I am going to need at least 15 cows when I would have assisted you. My brother, where am I going to get all of that money? This is how my late boyfriend's spirit assists me. There were some guys that tried robbing me one day. It was on a Sunday, so I had gone to town, and it was really quiet on that day when I went to town. Whilst I was in town, I was walking. I was then approached by these other Nyaupe boys, and they then took my handbag and they took my phone from me. These guys, they just left me standing there, and I wanted to cry because I was thinking about all the phone numbers that I had, because here in South Africa, I'm just working as a maid, so I am always relying on the piece jobs. So I was now asking myself, how am I going to communicate with the people that I work for? So those guys, when they were walking, one of them then fell to the ground and he started shaking violently, and it was really scary, like he was possessed. Those other guys then ran to where they had left me standing, and they just threw the phone and my handbag at me. The other one then said, I saw a guy that was crossing the street, a dead man that was crossing a street that was holding a gun. And so when he said that he had seen a man that he thought was dead crossing the street, I then connected and I said that was the same story that my first boyfriend told me when I came here to South Africa. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our sister right there. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.